Yesterday, you may remember we learned from a new climate change report that the state of the Earth is only getting worse. And if we're not careful, global warming's catastrophic effects could hit us in just 12 years. And today, for those of you who don't like to read, Mother Nature prepared a little demonstration.
Happening now, breaking news, eye of the storm. Michael makes landfall as the most powerful hurricane to hit the U.S. mainland in more than a quarter century, with winds clocking in at an incredible 155 miles an hour.
Heavy rain and sustained winds pulling homes apart, flooding rivers, ripping railings from the ground, collapsing beachside homes, leaving a wake of destruction in its path.
That's right. The Gulf Coast is right now experiencing its worst hurricane ever recorded. And they've named it Michael. And look, people, I'm going to put it out there. We need to start giving hurricanes scarier names, right? It's always like Florence and Bill or Diane. No one is like, you guys run, Diane is coming! If you named it something like Hurricane Skull Crusher Bloodstorm, maybe people would get out of the way. Plus, then it would be hilarious if the storm fizzled out, because then on the news they'd be like, Hurricane Skull Crusher Bloodstorm was 1 inch of rain and barely made landfall. Moving on to other scary news, Halloween is almost here. And if you are an older kid planning to go out, you're in for a treat.
How old is too old to trick or treat? Well, if you happen to be in Virginia on October the 31st, the answer is 12 years. Several towns in eastern Virginia have laws that make it illegal to trick or treat if you're older than the age of 12. In fact, it's a misdemeanor, and it comes with a fine between $25 and $100, and it could also lead up to 6 months in jail.
Yes, you heard that right. Some towns in Virginia are planning to arrest any kids who trick or treat over the age of 12. Imagine that. 6 months in jail for a 13-year-old who wanted to dress up. I mean, don't get me wrong, the mugshots would be pretty dope. And getting arrested in a costume might not be the worst thing, because then at least when you walk into jail, all the other inmates would be like, who's the new guy? Oh shit, it's Dracula! And look, I don't think any kid should go to jail. I really don't think that. But here's what I don't like. I don't like the idea of me on Halloween opening my door and then there's a group of 17-year-old kids standing there, right? That shit happens to me all the time. I open the door and they're just there, no costumes, holding pillowcases. That's not trick-or-treating, okay? This is like a soft robbery. Go away. Give them Snickers and my wallet just in case. Moving on to some travel news, the fight continues over what kind of crazy shit you can bring onto a plane.
A woman had to be wheeled off a Frontier flight because she refused to leave her emotional support squirrel behind. The airline says when the woman booked her flight, she noted she had a support animal. She didn't say it was a squirrel. And since a squirrel is considered a rodent, Frontier would not allow her to keep it on the plane.
Oh, man. I feel so bad for the squirrel. No, I mean, it's not a big deal for us humans, but he must have been so excited for that tiny bag of nuts. It's like, this is my dream! And this whole ordeal must have been so weird for the other passengers, because you're on a plane and there's a squirrel, right? The only time you expect to see a squirrel on a flight is on a Spirit Airlines flight. Yeah, on the menu for $12.95.